Hey guys, it's Max from Apple Insider, and today we have the iPhone XS Max and the Galaxy Note 9, and we are going to be comparing the video quality of both the front-facing camera and the rear-facing cameras. We're starting off with the selfie cameras. The Note 9 actually shoots QHD with the front shooter, but it misses out on stabilization, where the iPhone can shoot 1080p, but can go up to 60 frames per second, and it is stabilized.
So as you guys can see in this clip, the Note 9 is blowing out the highlights in the color in the sky and in the water. And here, the XS Max is doing a much better job at stabilization. And if you look in the darkest areas of the trees, the XS Max has noticeably better dynamic range. However, the extra contrast on the Note 9 looks better. Now with the telephoto lenses, both phones have a similar level of detail, but we like the extra contrast on the Note 9. One thing we notice is that on the Note 9, if you turn on AF tracking, the video stabilization actually turns off, and it ends up looking pretty terrible. On the XS Max, you can basically use any feature without it disabling a different feature, which is really nice. In this HDR shot, we see the same differences in stabilization, and if you look on the left side, the XS Max is getting better dynamic range. Now while shooting at 4K at 60 frames per second, the Note 9 is actually beating the XS Max in terms of stabilization. This might be because AF tracking gets automatically turned off if you shoot at 60 frames per second. In this example, the Note 9 is doing a much better job at stabilization. But we also noticed some autofocusing issues on the Note 9, like it randomly focusing on the background, even with the face right in front of it. And here, it does a good job of holding the focus. However, as soon as we went back, it went out of focus for a split second. You'll notice that the XS Max had zero issues with this. In this HDR test, we can see the Note 9 is struggling with stabilization again. The XS Max is doing a much better job in terms of dynamic range. You get a lot of color in the sky, the building isn't blown out, and the umbrella is exposed better than on the Note 9.
The iPhone XS and XS Max are now loaded with 4 microphones. That means you can now record audio in stereo. Now the Samsungs have had that for a long time, so you should be hearing me on the left channel.
Now in this autofocusing test, the Note 9 is actually focusing faster than the XS Max. But now let's add a face into the mix. Since you can't really tell what's going on, let's freeze the frame. So here, you can tell that the trees in the background are in focus. As you can see, the XS Max has locked in focus on the face, while the Note 9 is still focused on the trees. Even at this moment, the Note 9 is still focused on the background. Let's try that one more time. Again, the XS Max caught focus right away, and it wasn't until this point that the Note 9 got in focus. In this scene, we can easily notice the camera shake on the Note 9, and the XS Max looks much better exposed and there's more color in the sky. Now let's move on to slow-mo. This was shot in 1080p at 240 frames per second. You'll notice how much darker the Note 9's image is. Not only that, but the dynamic range is horrible. There's barely any detail in the pants or shoes, even though the water's reflection near the top of the frame is blown out. But the stabilization on the XS Max did have some issues here. In this fountain shot, we can notice the water on the Note 9's image is blown out quite a bit compared to the XS Max. Now it's slowed down 4K 60, we see basically the same thing. Now here's a big difference. When switching to 1080p at 240 frames per second, the dynamic range drops significantly on the Note 9. The shadows are extremely dark, and the water is just as blown out as before. It also drops a little bit on the XS Max, but definitely not as much. Now the Note 9 does have a super slow-mo feature, but it's limited to 720p, so you can easily see that the quality goes down significantly. But it's definitely a cool feature to have. There's also a pretty massive crop in this mode as well. Now if you look here, you can notice how big of a crop that really is. But on the other hand, it's better to have a feature like this than to not have it at all, like on the iPhone XS Max. Now let's compare low light. As you can see, the Note 9 butchers the white balance, and is doing quite a bit worse in dynamic range. The brights on the painting are blown out, and the face is much darker than on the XS Max. Now with the front-facing camera, the Note 9 is crushing some of the blacks, especially in the hair, but it does look like it has less noise than the XS Max does. Now let's finish it off with some nighttime video. Now this may be the biggest HDR difference we've seen. First of all, the Note 9's image is way overexposed. If you compare exposures, you can see just as much detail in the shadows on the Note 9 as you can on the XS Max. So it's not like it's overexposed on the Note 9. But if you look at the comfort in sign, it's completely blown out on the Note 9. The XS Max has less noise as well. So thanks for watching guys. Let us know what you thought about this comparison in the comment section below, and subscribe to see more videos like this one.
If you enjoyed this video, like it and hit that subscribe button. Also, check out our price guide, which makes it extremely easy to find the best deals on Apple products updated daily. Be sure to follow us on social media, and we'll see you in the next video.